Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 4 from KAD2. We are going to present our research study. The topic is the approaches of tajdid of kaum tua and kaum muda against bid'ah practice in Malaysia. Kaum muda, the young Muslim scholars, and kaum tua, the older generation, were two forms of thinking that formed the main movement of thinking among the Malay community in Malaya during the late 90s and early 20th centuries. Kaum tua was called the traditionalists. This term causes misunderstanding when compared to the kaum tua and kaum muda as traditionalists versus modernists. Such comparisons are less accurate according to some researchers and academics. This is due to the modernist terms often associated with Western societies. Kaum muda was called a reformer and reformist group. According to Kamaluddin Saleh 2007, among other names to the group are reformers, tajdid, Islah, Sawan Islamiyah and Ihya Islam. This research was conducted to discuss the approaches of tajdid of kaum tua and kaum muda against bid'ah practice in Malaysia. For this research study, our research question, what is the history of kaum tua and kaum muda in Malaysia? Next, who are the scholars in religions of kaum tua and kaum muda? And lastly, what are the issues of the tajdid among kaum tua and kaum muda in Malaysia? And then our research objective, firstly, to study the emergence of kaum tua and kaum muda in Malaysia. Second, to inquire about the scholars in religion of kaum tua and kaum muda. And lastly, to analyse the argument to the tajdid among kaum tua and kaum muda in Malaysia. Research method. To achieve the objective of this study, the researcher have used qualitative method by reviewing the source related to the topic such as book, academic journal article and reliable internet source.
My name is Karinisa and I want to present about the history of kaum tua and kaum muda. Firstly, the history of kaum tua. With the return of Malay students from Mecca, the entrance of West Asian influence on the Malay world may be considered to have begun. As a consequence of this continuity, the Pondok Institution was established, which made the most significant contribution to showing the image and impact of West Asia in Malaya. Dala, Berlin, Samela, Dua and Teluk Manak are some of Patani's well-known huts. Students from all over the world, particularly those from the archipelago, flocked to the huts, particularly those from Sri Lanka, Burma, Cambodia, Vietnam, Malaya, the Philippines and Indonesia. The issue spreads throughout Malaya, including Kedah, Perlis, Kelantan and Terengganu. When it comes to the introduction of Islam into the state of Kelantan, history shows that, if viewed from the point of view of the entry of Islam into the state of Kelantan, history records that the land of Kelantan began to receive the echo of Shahadah before the 12th century Anno Domini. Second, a brief history of kaum muda. The growth of the muda race is said to have started in the 17th and 18th centuries, which refers to the rule of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab. In fact, this stream of reform had already begun long before that, namely when the emergence of Ibn Taymiyyah, who has described by Professor Ismail Al-Faruqi as the first and the greatest Muslim reformer. The development of the reformist movement at the world level is colored by the emergence of several figures who are considered synonymous with this movement. Among them are Jamaluddin Al-Afghani, Sheikh Muhammad Abduh and Rashid Redha. In the context of Malaya, the youth movement, the Muda movement, started from the south, namely Singapore, and then spread to the west coast, and Kelantan is among the last locations successfully absorbed by the ideas of the Muda, kaum muda. Among the figures who can be described as kaum muda are Sheikh Muhammad Tahir Jalaluddin, Sheikh Muhammad Salim Al-Kalali, Sheikh Al-Hadi, Sheikh Muhammad Akil and Haji Abbas Muhammad Taha. Third, history of the conflict between kaum tua and kaum muda. The first wave of lawsuits against the Shafi'i sect was in the early 20th century when some students who went on to study in Saudi Arabia, Egypt and India were influenced by the thinking of the Islah movement there. Islah thought has been able to influence several students including Sheikh Muhammad Tahir bin Jalaluddin Al-Azhari, who had the opportunity to study in Makkah and Cairo, who were influenced by the thought of Muhammad Abdul and Rashid Ridha. While students who study in Mecca and in India are influenced by the teaching of Sheikh Waliullah Al-Dahlawi brought by Maulana Ubaidullah Al-Sindi, such as Haji Nik Abdullah, Haji Nik Mahmud, Haji Wan Musa, Haji Abdul Rahman, Haji Nik Mahmud, who is of Islam. So, the Islam thinking can also influence non-religiously educated groups who read such stream materials from the Islamic Review magazine published by Kamaluddin Khaja in Walking England and other sources. Thank you.
One of the scholars in Kaum Tua is Sheikh Ahmad Khatib. He received his early education and entered the Dutch government school in Minangkabau in addition to receive more religious education from his own family. After being in Mecca, he received a deep religious education from the scholars of Mecca, especially Said Bakri Shatta, Said Ahmad bin Zaini Dahlan, Sheikh Muhammad bin Sulaiman Hasbullah Al-Makki and others. Sheikh Ahmad Khatib Minangkabau is a hard-nosed and a radical man. Although he mastered many fields of knowledge, but he still imitated the Shafi'i school of jurisprudence and followers of Ahli Sunnah wal Jama'ah following the school of Imam Abu Hassan Al-Ash'ari and Imam Abu Mansur Al-Maturidi in faith. Furthermore, Dato Said Alwi bin Tahir Al-Hadadi is also one of the scholars in Kaum Tua. It was not only Said Alwi Al-Haddad who rejected the position of A. Hassan bin Ahmad Bandung, but the same thing was also done by Haji Abu Bakar bin Haji Hassan Muar, who is one of the scholars in Kaum Tua. It was not only Said Alwi Al-Haddad who rejected the position of A. Hassan bin Ahmad Bandung, but the same thing was also done by Haji Abu Bakar bin Haji Hassan Muar, who is one of the scholars in Kaum Tua. Haji Abu Bakar Muar's object to A. Hassan Bandung entitled Majlis Urayan Muar Johor in the title in answering and cancelling the fatwa of the author of the Islamic Association of Bandung, who said that pigs are unclean to eat, not unclean to touch, and the dog's mouth is not necessarily unclean. Furthermore, in Kaum Muda, there is Syed Sheikh Al-Hadi, led the Islamic reformer in Malaya, who played an important role in advancing the country's education system, especially in Islam. This includes his contribution to advance religious education in the non-aligned Malay states such as Singapore, Melaka and Penang. Figure of Arab descent who was born in Kampung Ulu Melaka in 1867 is known as a pioneer who channeled the thoughts and philosophy of the struggle of the youth. For the last one is Ustad Abu Bakar Al-Bakir is the influence of the reform movement pioneered by Said Sheikh Al-Hadi, later expanded to several states including Perak. A protege of Al-Mashhur, namely Sheikh Abdullah Maghribi, has established Idrisiyah Madrasah in Perak. There are other Al-Mashhur graduates who also established Madrasah Ad-Diniyah Kampung Lalang Perak in 1934. Said Sheikh Al-Hadi's contribution in Islamic education in Malaya left a deep impression, and the result of his critical thinking brought about reforms in the Islamic movement in Malaya.
I'm Rohani, which the next presenter that I will talk about the argument to the Tajdid among Kaum Tua and Kaum Muda in Malaysia. According to Abdullah 2013, the Kaum Tua scholars have been the most outspoken critics of the Kaum Muda doctrine in Kelantan since its established. As a result, in 1990s and early 2000s, the beginning of the combining the Islah and Tajdid principles together. According to Roth 1967, the Kaum Muda and Kaum Tua in the origins of Malay nationalism has led to the development of a new Islamic social movement in the present, which is considered as having a range of viewpoints, whether they be existing or reform also aid any ideologies. The first issue, according to Yaakob 2010, there was a debate between the old and the young on the issue of talqin to the Tajdid. Haji Wan Musa and his son Haji Nik Abdullah disagreed with philosophers who claimed that talqin would be the same as circumcised. However, on the Salaf views, talqin is considered makruh since it doesn't provide any profit. The next issue is according to Abdullah 2013, Haji Wan Musa has given his view that Muslims might carry a dog without taining its mouth water container if it's required for the household's protection. From this issue, then there was a discussion to determine the law on this issue, but the discussion produced no solutions from each member who attend the session. Last but not least, the issue also stated by Abdullah 2013, Haji Wan Musa planned to use Zakat Fitrah funds to build the Muhammadi Mosque in Kota Baharu. He was against the Majlis Ulama's ruling because he believed that Zakat Fitrah was a right of the underprivileged. On the other hand, the Kaum Tua argued that a mosque be built with Zakat Fitrah funds is in Allah Ta'ala's path. So, that's all from me. Thank you.
As a conclusion, most of today's new movement, whether traditional, Islamic or liberal, emphasize social, educational, health and economic aspect. As William Arrof points out in his study, a group of kaum muda have carried out this aspiration. The movement of kaum muda and kaum tua is clearly present in the country with controversial events arising from these two tribes. It can be identified that their polemic are divided into three periods throughout their history. The difference point around khilafiyah such as the Malay heritage practice that have long been practiced by the Malay community such as Tahlil, Kunut, Friday Night Yasin recital and many more. It is also emerged that prominent figures representing two movements such as Syekh Ahmad Khatib and Said Alwi Al-Haddad from kaum tua, while from kaum muda such as Sheikh Al-Hadi. Kaum tua and kaum muda each contradicting their respective movement. Kaum muda, which were seen as a reformist movement which was tried to change the thinking and intellectual of the Muslim Malay community in Malaya, caused the kaum tua, the traditionalist and religious elite in Malaya, to give opposition to the kaum muda because it was thought that the kaum muda movement were trying to influence the nature and thinking of the Malays in Malaya. The discussion on kaum tua and kaum muda also can be said to be a sensitive issue because it involves politics where kaum muda are quite extreme and always indifferent to the government on several matters. So what we can learn here is that we should take positive initiative and not discriminate against each other in terms of non-compliance with them. We should take part together to discuss and give an equitable idea for the rise of global Muslims. I think that's all from us. Thank you.